What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Kick-Ass Podcast. We are live here tonight to talk about a few different things. I said this during my stream on Brass Ring Media that I do on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. Shout out to Brass Ring, of course, and definitely subscribe over there if you have not already. But I had mentioned during the start of my stream the other day that yesterday that I was not going to go my usual hour and a half. But so I was going to start off by saying I don't intend on going too long tonight. But we'll see. We'll see. I do have few different things I want to chat about. Obviously, if you've seen the title, you have an idea. Definitely going to talk about Crown Jewel that just happened yesterday, the results from that. Yeah, and the winners. Couple surprising winners, I would say, and outcomes. Definitely in the opener, which we'll obviously be talking about here in a couple moments. But we do have a little bit of interesting and fun news to talk about as well in regards to the AEW Mole. If you saw the stream that I did, I think the very last stream previous to this one that I did live on the show here, Kick-Ass Podcast, the AEW Mole now follows me on Twitter and follows the show here on Twitter and gave us a little shout out, which is very, very cool. So thank you to them and shout out to them. I appreciate that. So we'll take a look at some updates that they have over there and take a look at some things that they've been right about. And it's becoming more and more interesting. And that's what was fun for me about it to begin with. Just the thought that they could be legit, and it seems that hey, more and more signs are pointing in that direction. So shout out to them, and thank you for the follow back and for the shout out, and to everyone else that they shouted out as well. I believe it was David the Heel. I believe is the name. I follow them, subscribe to their channel. I believe that's the name of their channel. And gosh, there's one other one. I'll pull it up here in a second. I believe it's like Pro Wrestling Times. I think their channel name is. But shout out to them. You guys, if you are able to follow the AEW Mole, and I believe they said that they're capping the request. So I don't know, but if you are give them just stay interacting with them because it seems to be more and more interesting. Like I said, the more and more the days go by, and information that they seem to put out. So shout out to them for the work that they're doing and the info that they're putting out. But again, and we also have an update on that one next that just never seems to fully go away. No matter how hard you try, they won't go away. And that is good old Vinnie Mac. He seems to trying to veer his way back into the entertainment world. So we'll take a look at an article in regards to that. I'll probably start off with that, to be honest with you, just to kind of get that out of the way, because I don't really want to dedicate too much time to him. But I do think I need to let my dog in here. So 1 second. All right, back. My dog has Frida. If you've seen a past stream, she made an appearance. I think that was on Breastwing Media though, but she is in the room now. She is that dog that if you ignore her, it's just gonna get worse. So if she makes an appearance, I apologize in advance. Oh, what's up, baby? What's up, my friend? You made it through to our minimum. Yeah, with me that seems to be the almost the norm. You try to get on the mole train, you'll see. Okay. Oh, we'll see, man. We'll see. If not, I will do what I can on my side here to keep us all up to date. But thank you though. Thank you to the for the recommendation and for the call out because obviously I had no idea until you led me their way. So I appreciate that. It was very helpful. And it was very entertaining. A very entertaining find. And it seems to be legit, like I was just saying, it seems to be like they're checking a lot of the boxes. And very specific ones too. So, like I said, we'll be getting into that here in a second. But I want to talk about the Vince McMahon article here and kind of get that out of the way, like I said, because this guy just doesn't seem to go away. And I can't say that I'm not or that I can't say that I'm surprised that he's back, but it's just like, come on. Come on. One second. I'm gonna take away this toy just because I feel like it's gonna be loud in the background. Yes, yes, me too, baby. He say, so glad he, she, the mole mentioned. Yeah, I was shocked. I was shocked. It was just a regular day, and I pulled up Twitter, and I was just like, what? So it was very cool, very cool. That's why I was like, I definitely want to just recognize that. But yeah, in regards to Vinnie Mac, it's a article. I believe it's yeah. I'm gonna pull it up here. Good old SI. I'm gonna share the screen. But Vinnie Mac is back. Vince McMahon launching a new entertainment company with former WWE executives. He would not go softly into the night, apparently. And this is by Daryl Figueroa. Figueroa? Figueroa. I suck at pronunciations. Figueroa. Daryl Figueroa, I believe. So shout out to them. And you can see the link here. I'll throw it in the show notes as well, just to make sure they get their cred. But they say Vince McMahon is not throwing in the towel just yet. The former WWE chairman is in the beginning stages of creating a new entertainment company, according to a Pro Wrestling Insider report that broke Tuesday afternoon, October 29th. That is. Despite his ongoing legal issues, McMahon's new venture is being described as a quote entertainment hub company and will reportedly focus on producing film and TV projects in the realms of fiction and nonfiction. Goes on to continue to say, according to PW Insider's report, several ex WWE employees, including Brad Bloom, have already offered their services to Vinnie Mac's film and TV business. Bloom was WWE's chief operating officer under McMahon and stayed on board with the company after McMahon's second ousting earlier this year. This past May, Bloom resigned after it was discovered that he was, quote, corporate officer number two in Janelle Grant's lawsuit. Kristen Prouty, a former WWE executive instrumental in ushering Logan Paul into the WWE family, interesting, is reportedly connected to the project. She was laid off in May following Endeavor's purchase of the Global Pro Wrestling promotion. PW Insiders, Pro Wrestling Insider, of course, sources claim that McMahon will not pursue the formation of a new pro wrestling company nor anything competitive with WWE. The company is preparing for launch should McMahon get cleared of his charges, with a Los Angeles headquarters planned. Which is interesting as well that he's taking it to the West Coast instead of his standard East Coast and obviously Northeast, but just complete change in that regard. So it makes you wonder too if he's like hanging out over on the West Coast more often. But yeah, just interesting. McMahon is no stranger to projects outside of the pro wrestling sphere. In 1990, he created the World Bodybuilding Federation, an attempt at cornering the bodybuilding circuit. The Wider brothers made famous with their IFBB organization's Mr. Olympia contest. The WBF shuddered amidst the cloud of McMahon's steroid trial. In 2001, the WWE chairman joined forces with NBC magnate Dick Ebersol to create the XFL, an alternative to the NFL, with storied football analyst Jim Ross. With storied football analyst Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler on commentary, what could go wrong? Everything. Oh god, that was good. The answer is everything. The XFL closed down the same year it debuted. Yeah, and it was a shame too because they started off kind of hot rating wise, but then they just tanked week after week. As for the film and TV space, McMahon has ventured there too. He helped produce a number of WWE branded feature films with superstars like John Cena, Kane, Randy Orton, The Rock, and John Moxley. Although he was called Dean. Okay. So they were saying, although he was called Dean something and had hair. Yeah, so in regards to John Moxley being called Dean Ambrose. And then it looks like they just wrap it up here by saying, if all goes according to McMahon's McPlans, will the entertainment world accept him back into their boardrooms? I think they would. I don't think they should, obviously, right? I think that goes without saying. I think it's really interesting of like what he thinks he's gonna be doing. And of course they say just like an entertainment hub. Um but like what does that mean? And of course we'll get more information if and when it becomes a thing or gets closer to being a thing. My personal opinion regarding his charges, it does not look good, right? So if he were to even get cleared on some of them, if not all of them, right? Who knows the information? Um, once everything is revealed, if everything is revealed and not settled or whatever, could show that he's completely innocent, right? And all this was just whatever, whatever we end up finding out. I personally don't think that's going to be the case, but we'll see. It's just going to be a lot to overlook. I think the entertainment world, like Hollywood, is pretty scrummy to begin with. So I wouldn't be surprised that they would accept him. And I definitely, obviously, you can see there's definitely people who would work for him and with him. So I'm not surprised by any of that. It's just interesting to see like what he would want to do. Obviously, like film and TV projects, right? But like, what would that be? It's just I don't know. Vince, you don't yes, WWE like the production WWE does is unreal. Um but it's completely different when you're trying to do film and TV, right? So props to him for wanting to try something, I guess if we're stretching to give something positive, but I mean, if I was him, I would not be looking to do anything right now. I would be sitting on my billions of dollars, hoping that I can clear my name and get out of all the allegations and all the lawsuits against me. Is easiest as possible and as clean as possible. And then going from there. I don't know. To me, it's just almost the part that's wild to me. I guess I'll say it's that he's even thinking about doing other things besides clearing himself, and if that's possible, and just righting his wrongs. But whatever, I guess that says a lot. But am I surprised that he wants to go out and do something else? No, of course not. And I don't think he even, again, who knows what kind of deal and structure he had with the business, right? With Endeavor and TKO. But I don't know if he would even be able to be involved in anything wrestling, like another wrestling promotion or starting anything else like that. So it would have to be the entertainment world, like just generic like movies and TV. I don't think he would even be able to do it or even entertain anything else for that matter. Um, but let's see. Bebe, you say if you have time, I'd love for you to show us that mole tweet with you. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure, I definitely will. What's up, Rewind 89? Let's see what you have to say. VKM has failed every business beside professional wrestling, XFL, Professional Bodybuilder Federation, his granola bars, etc. Uh, yeah, yeah, like the article reference to begin with, he's again, props to him for trying, I guess. But yeah, no, I would not be doing anything right now. And why would you want to put yourself in a situation where even if you're clear, right? Let's say he's 100% innocent of all the allegations against him. It's all BS and he's the victim in all this, right? Let's just go with that for a quick second. Why would you want to put yourself in another situation where you can even possibly be in a similar situation? Like, to me, that's just kind of bonkers. I mean, especially when you don't need the money. Like, dude is sitting on billions. Like, the last thing he needs is money. So it just goes with power. And that, to me, that's what this is. Again, I get he's probably bored and he's never known not working, right? So I understand that, but come on, dude. Like, pick up another, build something. Like, I don't know. Like, go outside. Like, I don't know. Like, just do something else. Like, go travel. Maybe he can't travel. I don't know. Maybe he can't travel. I was about to say like travel the world, and obviously he's already traveled the world. But when you're traveling with wrestling, right? You can only explore for so much. Like, do something. Yeah. You say VKM is old and creepy just for yeah. I'll put it up there. VKM is old and creepy, just retired old man and call it a day. Yeah, I mean, long story short, right? Baby, you say if you were him, you wouldn't have gotten this position. Oh yeah. Oh God, no. Yeah, like again, I'm not Miss Perfect over here, but fuck no for that. Absolutely not. Like, yeah, it's yeah, it's still bizarre to me the level of what he allegedly did and went to. It's just like, my God. But yeah, so that's the update on old Vinnie Mac. Nothing too crazy, but it's still something to keep on the board, right? And to be mindful of. So we'll see. We will see. But moving on, I will move over to I still have Twitter up, so I will pull up the AEW Mole account. And again, shout out to them. And Bebe, like you said, I'll go ahead and throw that tweet up here that the AEW Mole referenced us in. All right, here we go. So here we go. Of course, it says shout out. And okay, so that's what it was. Shout out at Pro Wrestling Time or Pro Wrestle Times at David underscore PB. And of course, us here at Kickash Podcast underscore. Those are the Twitter handles. Obviously, I'm pretty certain they go under. I know David goes under David. I think David the heel, David turning heel, something like that. But check out their Twitter accounts, and I'm almost positive you can find their links there. Actually, I'll throw that up here really quick. So okay, David is David turning heel. Okay, so yeah, definitely check him out. That's where that's where I was directed to begin with. Again, shout out to Bebe over here, but I actually went down a little rabbit hole on David's channel and watched some of his stuff. And I believe he just had a birthday this past weekend too. So shout out to him. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. But yeah, so this is his page here. Shout out to him again. And this is his YouTube link. And then Pro Wrestle Times. They're over here. Pretty cool page, pretty cool theme, layout, and all that good stuff. So shout out to them. I'm not as familiar with them, but I would definitely be checking them out. Because I love finding new pages and new takes and stuff like that. So shout out to them. But yeah, so this was the original tweet that Bebe was just referring to. They gave us all a shout out and said, I don't mind people covering this stuff, so don't worry, you guys. Me and some of the other moles just had a great time watching videos. And then some UFOs, and then hashtag 2 steps ahead. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And a huge relief. And then I'll follow up here really quick with the second tweet that they did right after it. And they said, I appreciate those who were cautious or worried too, though, and had my back. Don't worry, this mole doesn't plan on getting whacked anytime soon, which is pretty cool. And then that was just me thanking them. But yeah, so again, we're gonna take a look at their page here in a second. But I think it's pretty cool, whether again, if all this is just complete BS and they are just like ribbing us, right? Whatever. Like that's why I love wrestling. Just kind of go along with some shit and just kind of enjoy it for what it is. But again, like they've been right about a lot of stuff and a lot of specific stuff. So that's why I'm like, it's I don't know. I'm leaning more and more towards it's most likely legit, you know what I mean? And again, if they're watching the videos, very cool. Shout out to them. Be careful, don't want you guys to get in trouble or anything like that. But like I was about to say earlier, I'm so relieved that they first of all, it's very cool that they even found my video in my little channel here. And then they took it a step further and gave me a shout out. So again, appreciate that. But it's cool that they are okay with us talking about it, right? And that's what I referenced in the video that I did. I was kind of nervous that they would, if it ever got back to them, right, that it'd be interpreted the wrong way. And it doesn't appear that that was the case. So very cool. But yeah, so we're gonna get into it. Yeah, and yeah, baby. Apparently, other moles are or other AEW moles are watching. So very cool, right? Very cool. And yeah, again, like you said, it's too accurate. So we're gonna delve into it here. But again, it's pretty cool. You can see right there. So yeah, their followers did, like, I think damn near double. Since last week when I had submitted my request. Followed by, okay, so Ringside Renaissance. I shout out to them. And Jesse over there. Looks like they are following as well. So cool beans. Shout out to them. But yeah, we're gonna get into it here. Um, so right here, no, I mean, and again, some of this stuff is just kind of like you can kind of, if you're just a fan, like kind of read the tea leaves as well. But it's still accurate. So right here, they say Mina is coming. You can guess who with, and then just some random comments. And then they said that they wouldn't mind being in Saudi Arabia right now and just showing the images from this past Saturday's collision, and that, like, oh, they all won too. And again, they all did. And to be fair though, I did hear that, or read rather, that Collision was a pretty decent show. So I I think I have some cleaning to do. I think I might want to put it on in the background. I do honestly want to see. I think it was Fletcher and Commander, or Commander. I do want to check that out. I heard that was a very good match. Excuse me. So yeah. We'll see. We'll see how the cars may lay, but I gotta give props where it's due, right? Okay, yeah, and then the AEW Mole confirms that Kyle Fletcher and Commander got a standing ovation when they came to the back, and that they were sitting there thinking, if he's struggling with him, or in regards to Fletcher, if he's struggling with him, how's he meant to give Will a run for his money? And that's always the big consensus, right? And while AEW, see if they had any follow up notes, just other fan comments. While AEW should get credit for showcasing their wrestlers and giving them time to actually go out there and showcase their talents, right? It does get to be almost to the point, it's like, okay, like everyone goes 50-50, everyone is equals, right? And it's a matter of like who can do like the best, like who can pull out the best move at the last second type thing, right? Or the most effective move. And I don't know, it's you sometimes you just get the feeling that you didn't see a decisive winner, and that's kind of a bummer sometimes. But again, like, no disrespect to Commander, but there's no reason why Fletcher shouldn't have just like kind of crushed him, you know? Especially with the direction that Fletcher is going in, and the story behind him, and the emphasis that they're putting behind him and trying to, and the drastic character change, I'm not completely sold on his. Oh, I forgot my ginger ale in the freezer. I just realized that. And again, shout out to Canada Dry, man. If you're looking for a sponsor, holler at your girl. But I lost my train of thought. But no, like, I'm not sold on Fletcher's new look, man. I thought I dug his long hair. Yeah, I guess he did favor Osprey. But to me, he's too similar to Don Callis now, and I get that's the idea behind it, but I'm just not a fan of it. Maybe it'll grow on me. I don't know, but it's just, I don't know, not really too much of a fan of his new look. And again, look right here. The AEW Mole, and again, like you were saying earlier, Bebe, with how accurate they've been, this is another one. John Moxley will appear on Collision, something to do with Action and Andretti. And again, that was right. So it's just it's something, guys. It's something. And again, they reference Brian Cage and Lance Archer, excuse me, facing off against FTR, sounding familiar because they predicted that as well. Going down a little bit here, and this one kind of cracked me up. So they said originally Thunder Rosa versus Harley Cameron, Battle of the Party Supply Store, AEW Collision hashtag. Anyway, I just walked past a cemetery called Erie Street. It's going to be a busy couple days. Wish him luck, or them luck. And then a comment says Harley Cameron stumbled onto something with that pink Thundercat look. I hope she keeps it. And then Thunder Rosa is great as always. And then AEW Mole says she's one to watch. She's got something. And I agree there. I agree. And again, they said I helped with the decorations, by the way. That's why I was like, I like that. Shout out to them. And then I went through AEW Mole little Q&A that they did here, and a lot of it was I'm not going to go through it all here because to be honest, a lot of it was just CM Punk stuff and just kind of repetitive questions and nothing too really that groundbreaking. This one, why did they abruptly split up Stokely and Stat? The Mole says because he would have ruined Mercedes on the mics, and that kind of cracked me up. Um, they said, "What's the backstage outlook on this stadium show in February? Any information at all regarding that show? Potential card?" I'll kind of bring this up here. The show's in 3 months, yet it doesn't feel like it at all, which was a very good point. I completely forgot that we have a stadium show coming up in February, which is just bonkers. The Mole says, I heard Tony Stone versus Mercedes is penciled in and would expect Buddy Matthews, of course, to get a title shot of some sort. We'll know closer to that time what the direction is. And I'm going to highlight this one because I have a good feeling that this one is going to become accurate as well. I think that could be a potential reason why Buddy Matthews has been getting a little bit of mic time, got the match with Adam Cole to really, of course, he did lose, right? But to get him back on the screen, get him more TV time, more air time, and to get him not acclimated on the screen again because he's a natural, but just to get him back in our memories and refresh in our memory of how great Buddy Matthews is. So while yes, he did lose Adam Cole, he really instigated him and he really pushed him. This could be the start of kind of warming Buddy up to get him back going, and it would kind of make sense timing wise. And Tony Storm versus Mercedes, that one was a little bit surprising to me, just because first of all, you would expect Storm to go right back to Mariah May. But it does make you wonder too, is Mariah May going to be losing the title in the meantime between now and the stadium show? Or are we going to have Tony Storm lose to Mariah May and kind of close that chapter and then put her new sights on Mercedes? Because it'd be kind of strange for Storm to come back and just go right after Mercedes, right? It'd be completely backwards, but we'll see. We will see. And this one was kind of funny. Who does Tony Khan think his audience is? And they say internet wrestling fans. And then this one question is there any honest understanding internally of the issues the company has and any talk of how to fix them, or is everyone just happy to have a show and issues to be damned? So pretty much, does anyone recognize that shit is getting kind of eerie or in kind of iffy? Or are we just kind of ignoring the fire that's right in front of our face? And the Mole says that's a tough one to answer. A lot of people know it rather, but it's not like, quote, how can we fix it? It's just it mainly is just what matches can do. Instead of thinking outside the box and promoting or using celebrities, whatever, it's better the deal was announced, but even that is sketchy. So yeah, and I remember reading at one point, they had said that they have referenced that I forget. I don't know what the question was, but they had referenced that they had worked for WWE as well at one point. The Mole did. So if they did, like they even more so, especially know how to cater to a vast audience, right? And cater to an audience that you're not going to please 100% of the time, right? There's just never going to be a situation where you please. I mean, maybe a situation where you please the majority, right? But there's always going to be people that are going to bitch and complain about something and think that it should have gone another way, or yeah, this was a good match, but X, Y, and Z. It's kind of honestly, it's kind of what I sit here and do too. To be completely blunt, sometimes myself, right? Sometimes we nitpick too much, but that just kind of it was a very good question because it brings into question the awareness part of it, and are we aware of, hey, we're not I'm again, my opinion, I don't think AEW is dying, right? AEW is failing or anything like that. But are we at least cognizant of, yeah, it has gone down. Attendance has gone down, ratings have gone down, things like that. That's just obvious, like whether you want to admit the stories are not as good as they used to be, we're just kind of booking dream matches or just doing whatever your take on it is, you can't deny that the energy is different, the vibe is different, the feeling is different, and it's just not the same, so not even trying to be negative, it's just kind of a fact at this point. So that's why you would be at least hopeful that like an answer to that would be like, yeah, he's aware, they are aware, the company is aware of things not being as great, and we're trying to turn the table, and it just doesn't seem that way, and that's what's alarming in my opinion. um yeah, not everybody's Taz and Hook, yeah. um Bebe, you said, didn't Buddy Shock everyone and resign recently? Yeah, I think that was within this year. And because I remember thinking, seeing that and thinking like, really? I want to say maybe it was like early this year, maybe like between January and April timeframe. But yeah, I was very surprised by that, to be honest with you. Um, da, 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 da. And this one, we'll bring this one up because this was kind of interesting. Also, this person says, also, why is Colt Cabana never featured after that Jericho match? Buyer's remorse after that botch. AEW Mole says, I remember the anti-punk brigade, or I'm sorry, I remember the anti-punk brigade, if I can speak, wanted a united front, or at least the illusion of one, when really it was only the people in the match and the elite who did it, quote, for the boys. It should have been for the hangers-on, because most knew what a massive loss it was. But regarding the match, yeah, that was the point. They realized he shouldn't be on TV anymore. Like, there were people calling out for it anyway, ever. I don't know what the ever part means. But yeah, so it's just for me again, it's just even kind of more frustrating, because it's like all that CM Punk shit was for what? Like, we're not even using the guy on TV. He's not even in Ring of Honor. Like, unless I'm completely mistaken by that, let me know. But when was the last time we've seen Cole Cabana referenced? We've seen him on TV. We've seen him on Ring of Honor. And again, I'm not advocating for it, but it's like, why did we even go through all that bullshit? And he's not even being included in anything. He's not even being included in the Dark Order and the defending AEW shit. So it's like we went through all that shit. And granted, I'm very happy because Punk is in WWE, and it's fine. Not that I even wanted him to leave AEW. I was bummed when he left AEW. I was concerned that we weren't gonna get Punk back. I knew we were gonna get him in WWE. It was just gonna be a matter of time. But I was concerned it was gonna be like a different version of Punk, and maybe a neutered down Punk or whatever. And we've gotten a great year so far. Of course, he was injured for the majority of it, right? But his feud with Drew McIntyre was very good. I really enjoyed it. So but to me, like, I wanted him to be in AEW longer, because there were so many things that he could do, and so many fresh matchups, obviously, and so much freedom that he would have. So yeah, it's just a bummer, bro. It's just a bummer, and it's especially looking back on it at this point, even more bullshit, right? And just no reason for it to happen. Completely avoidable. It may be okay, maybe not avoidable, but completely fixable. Uh, it's just laughable at this point that it escalated to that point. And again, Punk is no saint, right? I'm obviously a Punk fan, right? So biasly aware. Um, but no, and again, before I can continue on, was he Mr. Saint over there? Hell no. He completely instigated it with that media scrum, right? I'm not going to get all into that again, but he completely instigated it. If he was that worked up about it, he should have handled that shit behind the scenes without any cameras, not in front of reporters and stuff like that, right? Completely different. However, we all know the type of dude he is. He wears his heart on his sleeve. If he is pissed off about something, he's gonna let it be known. And he just had enough. He was hurt. He was tired, and he worked with fucking children, right? So yeah, that couldn't manage a target. So it's just something that probably should have been addressed before it got to that point, right? And apparently it was brought up. So it's just, and even more so, that's a shame than even it happening to begin with, was that it wasn't capitalized on, and that Punk was let go, and they left potentially a couple $1 million on the table, right? Maybe not that much, but thousands and thousands of dollars on the table, and maybe a cumulative of millions of dollars at that point, right? When you talk about pay-per-view buys, merchandise, things like that. So it's just a shame. It's just a shame. But yeah, when I read that, I was like, it's just another reminder, and it's crazy to think that that was only a little over a year ago. Well, not the fallout at Brawlout, right? But the shit that happened at All In. It was just not this past September, right? Obviously, but last year. So it's just crazy. And then in regards to who is replacing Jimmy Jacobs in creative, bring this up here. They say no like for like replacement so far. It's 75% to Nicole and Peppermint, Will Washington, and a few others helping with promos and the long term. And he says, I'm not kidding. Um, yeah. LOL the long term. And again, it's sad because you think back to when Tony Khan mentioned that when he first started AEW, he had a plan for what was the first 6 months, or I don't know if it was a time frame, but it was the first 4 champions. So obviously he would have had an idea for the time frame as well. But it's almost like once we got to that point, it's like maybe he needed a month or two off to plan out the next, like maybe AEW for him would have been better if they had like an off season, or if they took time off during the pandemic, he could have planned out the next year or so, or maybe 2 years. So maybe things could have been a little bit different, but I don't know. And maybe that's a conversation we can maybe ponder about whether AEW. I don't think WWE ever would be, but maybe AEW would be better with like an off season. So that could be interesting, especially with Tony Khan with the football and things like that. So that could be something fun to maybe ponder of in the future, but not tonight. Gonna go through here really quick and see if there was anything else crazy. Da-da. Yeah, probably the last one question wise. The question was, have there been any suggestions at all about doing smaller arenas so you can, show more than a quarter of the arena on TV. Um, the Mole says it would be an admission that we're not, or again, don't want to answer words. It would be an admission we're not at the level of WWE. Every new arena we go to, he thinks it's like sticking a flag into the beating heart of WWE or a one big game of horse. If it wasn't for his budget, it wouldn't be possible. It also looks bad and atmosphere wise feels bad. Um, so yeah, no indication that they will be going to smaller venues anytime soon. Gonna go back to their main page here and see. They have referenced a couple times as well in regards to Moxley's truck. So potentially at some point something could be happening in regards to the pickup truck that Moxley is always shown in, and the Death Riders, BCC, whatever they're going to be called in. I wish I would have seen that question. I would have asked if they have any idea what Moxley's gang is going to be called. But there was speculation that they're gonna, obviously, like I was saying, do something in regards or in relation and with Moxley's truck and involving Darby Allin. Whether that's my thought is they're gonna drag Darby Allin. They're gonna put him in a body bag and drag his ass. I could just see that happening. Or maybe try to hit Darby Allin, do something just effing crazy. But we'll see. But just they did mention that, so if we see that in the next week or so, that's another W for them. Let's see. Yeah, we're kind of catching up because I'm scrolling through and then we're getting back to where they had sent the tweet out for us. But bringing up the whole private party thing and I guess just their thoughts on it. They said the reason I was confused as to why they went straight back to Private Party when they'd already planned for their next feud was due to medical stuff, and I don't want to get into that, which is 100% fair. They were pitched to lose to the Outrunners, but that didn't work for them, brother, which is them being the Young Bucks, of course. Um, the plans for the Young Bucks versus the Golden Lovers has been penciled in forever. Another reason I was confused, but now all plans have changed after a break. You can guess what's coming next. The Elite will save the company from John Moxley. So there's an indication of where the story with the whatever Moxley's group is called is going. That the Elite are going to be the ones that are going to be saving us all. Which is funny because weren't they the ones that were just trying to take over AEW about 6 months ago? So whatever. One part, but it's just like, it doesn't make sense, you know? So that's my thing. One part they're keen on is a story similar to Roman and the Bloodline of reuniting with Kenny Omega if possible. They also want a moment with Jack Perry's Jungle Boy music plays for a save. Which I can see that. I could totally see that. And then they say, because, and continuing on with that, because it's quite far off how and why I'm not sure about that. Or about rather, they did mention how John Moxley saying to Jack Perry, "You're not a bad kid," might come back around in some way, but again, don't know, not sure what his plans are now that they're on hiatus. So, gonna be very interesting to see what they end up doing. But again, if they're gonna be right, it looks like it's gonna be the Elite that are gonna be saving us from John Moxley, which I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. So yeah, that looks to be the majority of everything. Talk of a tag team championship tournament. Oh, that was the other one for the Ring of Honor tag team titles. And that was because they got something else right as well. They had tweeted out, where was it? A picture of Cody and Dustin hugging right here on October 31st. And then, what do we know? A couple days, 2 days later, Fightful Select reported that Dustin Rhodes is a free agent. So, again, another victory for the Mole. The Mole. Another victory. So yeah, and again, not saying that Dustin won't resign, but he's a free agent right now. So, we'll see. But that does play into why, where was it? There was thoughts rather of doing a tournament for the Ring of Honor tag team titles because Dustin Rhodes is half of the tag team champions. So we'll see. We will see. But that's the majority of the Mole stuff. And again, shout out to them. I appreciate them and their love, and they're okay with talking about their tweets. And again, thanks to them for just giving us the info, you know? It's very much appreciated. But touching on Crown Jewel really quick, and then I will be wrapping up. I'm gonna just bring up the official results here just to reference. I was surprised. A couple things got me, guys. A couple things got me. I'm disappointed that Gunther did not win. But I am happy that they had a clean victory. I will say that. That is what I wanted. I just wanted Gunther to be on the victorious side. But it was one of those. Gunther had, long story short, Gunther had Cody and the sleeper chokehold, and Cody reversed it and flipped out and had Gunther's arms and shoulders pinned onto the mat and got the 3 count. They did the celebration, which I'm not going to get into, showing the title, celebrating with the Saudi um, royalty, I guess is the proper term. And apparently the championship titles that Cody Rhodes and Liv Morgan ended up defeating Nia Jax for the women's title, the women's crown jewel championship rather. They are going to be kept in what looks like an exhibition type thing for WWE over in Saudi Arabia. It looks like they have like their own display and their own, I don't know. Like, I don't know where it's at or where it's located at. I'm sure they don't have their own building, but it's in some type of display area. It actually looks very cool, and I'm not gonna lie. It looks like what you would if you've been to or seen any clips of like Access, like WrestleMania Access, and the fan event that they do. It looks like a setup like that. They have like the ring, Undertaker, memorabilia, all old school wrestlers, memorabilia rather, right? And just different things from the past, things from like the King of the Ring that they have, just various artifacts and stuff like that. but they are going to be on display and wherever in Riyadh that display is. So that was interesting, and I like it because we don't have to worry about them carrying around these massive titles either, right? And worrying about that being a thing on TV. And I do like that they ended up getting a ring to kind of commemorate their victory and to have something to show, right? So that was cool. That was a cool thing. I don't know if the ring is going to go back and forth. Like, so for instance, next year, whoever wins the matches next year, if they're going to just, if Cody would be like relinquishing his ring and handing it over, or maybe not handing it over, but relinquishing in the ring, and then Triple H would be crowning, or I guess putting the, I don't know what the ring, I don't know what that is, but ringing them, that sounds terrible. I don't want to say that. But yeah, I guess coordinating them with the ring, since the title stays over there. I don't know, but we'll see. Liv was very emotional though. Liv was very emotional with winning, which is surprise. I was just surprised to see how emotional she was. Um, but yeah, in the update, the partnership goes until 2020, or I'm sorry, yeah, well, 2030, 2030. So we're about halfway there, about almost 1 year shy. Um, but just going through again, so we got those two matches, and the Nia Jackson Liv Morgan match was kind of rough, to be fair. I've gone on record saying I'm a big Nia Jax fan. And I give her more love than a lot of people do, but it was just kind of rough at some points. And I'm just tired of the Tiffany fake cash in. Like they've done the same shit with Tiffany the past forever now since she's won the briefcase. So stop, stop with it. Either she's gonna cash it in or she doesn't. Like or change it up. But with how affirmative she was on SmackDown saying, I'm going to cash in, and she didn't, it was just very odd. It was like she was a completely different person on SmackDown than she was on Crown Jewel. On SmackDown, she was very sure of herself. She was damn near not even scared of Nia Jax. And then now she's back to being like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was gonna cash in on you. I was gonna cash in on Liv. Like what? Like what happened to you? We're supposed to believe like in the past 24 hours. So I just wasn't a fan of that. The other match that I loved the match, I thought it was a phenomenal match, but I just did not like the ending, was Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed. I love the start of the match. I love the physicality of the match. I love how it made Reed look, but I hated that Seth won. I don't see why he needed to win. I like that Bronson Reed got up immediately and was staring Seth down before Seth could even make it to the ramp. And Seth, I think, looked back at him and said, like, you're a crazy motherfucker, or like something like that. And I was just like, that was a cool little moment. And at the end of the match, Reed ended up getting like sliced open a little bit right above, I think, like his eyebrow, and it was kind of like, I think it dripped up to, it kind of like trickled up to his head, and then down his face a little bit. It was just a very cool visual, so that fit into it very well. But I don't know. I don't see why Seth needed to win. And like I said in my preview show over at Wrestling Media, Seth, and as bad as this is going to sound, like Seth didn't really gain that much in winning, but Bronson lost a little bit in losing. Yes, they can run it back, and it looks like they're going to, and Reed can get his victory, but I don't know. I still think if you're planning on running it back anyway, Reed should have gone up 1-0. If you want Seth to be victorious on him, you can have him even it out and then have Reed win the third one. So I wasn't a fan of that outcome. The other one that we all mostly likely projected this way, I would believe, is the tag team match for the women's side, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill retaining their titles. This was a very good match, though. I really enjoyed this match. So shout out to all of them involved. Lash Legend looked very good, in my opinion. She looked very good. I wish Jade would have gotten a little bit more offense in, and I want to see her shine a little bit more. I want to see her just get a little bit more time in there. But yeah, I think this was a very good match, and it surprised me, to be honest with you. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton actually didn't end up happening. It was ruled a no contest because I believe it was KO. Yeah, KO attacked Randy Orton as he was posing before the match could start. They ended up just fighting outside, ended up going through the fans, and Kevin hit, I think it was a elbow drop from one of the structures through or onto Randy through the table. So we'll be getting a continuation of that at Survivor Series, which I'm happy about. So yeah, and it made sense with this new version of Kevin Owens that they're doing, right? This new, I don't want to say sadistic, but this new crazy side of Owens. One that is a little unhinged, I guess I would say. So I hope it just continues. I hope he ramps it up going into War Games. But we'll see. Another match that we all most likely predicted the outcome, but I thought it was a very good match, and I really loved the finisher, was LA Knight retaining his U.S. Championship against Andrade and Carmelo Hayes by pinfall. He hit the BFT. Oh my god, his finisher. Um, Hayes had Andrade. I think he was going to go for like maybe like a Spanish fly or something, standing in the ring or some. I forget the move that he was going to go to, or go for. But as he was going for it, LA Knight reversed it and hit his BFT, or BFD rather. So it was just a very good sequence, and I think these guys really meshed up very well. Andrade looked great, per usual, right? And LA Knight retained, which again we all expected, but I thought this was a very good match. And I wish they would have gotten a little bit more time, but I'm very happy that Andrade and Mello, like I said, going into it, got their time. I wish they would have had a little bit more, but LA Knight looked really good too, and I really enjoyed the finish. Yeah, he slipped on the ropes once, right? But it's shit happens, you know. Like I'm not the one to sit there and like nitpick. I saw a lot of people just like on Twitter, just like highlighting that, and it's just like, why? You know, like shit happens, but I don't know. And then the opener that we had, which I was very surprised by, was the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga facing off against Roman Reigns and the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. I loved that Jay came out separate to Roman and Jimmy. I love that Roman and Jimmy came out together. Pretty standard version of their Bloodline entrance, right? But then Jay came out. Jay came out after everyone. The Bloodline 2.0 came out first, and then Roman and Jimmy did. But then Jay came out after all of them, and I loved that. I loved the importance and the significance and the star power that it gave Jay. And I love that he got his full entrance going through the fans and just really like eating it up. And I love that Roman sat there and watched. And again, Roman's facials and his visuals are just next level. And it was almost like a okay, like and like he was proud and just like I see you, man, I see you. And then Jimmy was just kind of in there just eating it up with Jay too. It was great, just kind of vibing out while Jay was doing his thing. So I loved that. I loved that touch, and I was surprised by that. Very surprised by that. And I was surprised by the finish that good old Solo Sikoa pinned Roman Reigns. I couldn't believe it. I think it was after what, two Samoan spikes. I believe it was two. Um, I think it was two. It was either two or three, but it was. I was just surprised that Solo pinned Roman. I didn't predict that. I wanted the Bloodline 2.0 to win, right? And I thought that it was needed for them to continue on. So I'm very happy about that. But I probably would have predicted that Solo was going to pin Roman here. So I like that that happened. I like that they touched on and continued with Sami Zayn coming out and playing the what side is he on? And for a second there, you were wondering, like you had to expect that Sami was going to side with Jimmy and Jay and Roman still, but you don't know what. My computer just randomly turned off. My work computer. So random. Um, you had to expect that, right? But you did have to wonder because Solo was talking to Sammy not too long ago and putting some info in his ear, maybe what he was dropping. You know, you Solo could be persuading, right? But it didn't work, and Sammy stuck with the good guys. So that pretty much confirms our War Games match going into Survivor Series. It's going to be Roman, Jimmy and Jay, and Sammy facing off against Solo, Tama and Tonga, and Jacob Fatu. And I think that's going to be a fantastic match. I can't wait to see that. But I like that we're going to have some dissension going into it too, and kind of building to that match because the the original Bloodline are not all on the same page. Jimmy and Jay, because at the end of the match there, when Sammy aligned with Roman, and the Usos, Roman and the Usos, Again, it sounds like a band's name. Um, Sammy went to attack Solo and ended up striking Roman instead. So there's going to be dissension there. Of course, Jimmy was pissed off at Sammy for striking Roman. Of course, it was an accident, right? And that's sometimes I'm just like, really, like you clearly saw it was an accident. So I hate that they go that route or get that worked up. It's like, bro, like clearly you saw it was an accident, it was a last minute thing. So relax. But I like that Jay is playing the middleman, and Jay is now going to play the peacekeeper between Sammy and Jimmy going forward. And of course, we'll see how Roman reacts. And we'll see when we get the return of Paul Heyman. We still have no signing of Paul Heyman yet. Maybe he's going to be the glue that unites the four of these guys together and really is kind of like, as crazy as it sounds, like the level minded of one of all these guys. So we'll see. We'll see. But that wraps up everything, guys. I have to go and get stuff done before the real world starts again on Monday, right? We'll be here before we know it. But thank you guys for popping in and out. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for commenting and interacting. I appreciate it. If you're here, go ahead and like the video if you like, or the stream if you like. If not, all good. No worries there. Thank you, baby. Thank you, Rewind89, for popping in. I appreciate you guys. For everyone who's going to view it in the future and listen to the audio, I appreciate that as well. You can follow me on Twitter at @kickashpodcast_. You can follow me personally at ASHMANNS. And keep in mind, like I said, I do go live over at Brass Ring Media here on YouTube every Saturday morning, live at 10 a.m. So definitely check me out over there. But yeah, thank you. Good night, Rewind89. Good night, baby. Y'all have a great night, a fantastic night. Enjoy some wrestling if you're gonna watch it tonight. If not, Raw will be on tomorrow, of course. Then be back to the grind, back to the usual. But take care, guys. Have a great night. Stay safe out there.